Hi, I'm Wanda from Alanda Craft, and today I'm going to show you how to make a jelly roll race quilt top. Only this won't be a race, it'll be more like a slow jog. Now we're going to make this one today from Moda Fabrics, but you can also make one of these quilt tops using fabric from your stash, as we've done here. However, let's get on and show you how to make it from a Moda jelly roll. So what you'll need is a jelly roll, and when you buy a jelly roll, this is what it'll look like. So make sure that you get one that has 40 or 42 strips. You can buy them where they have 20 strips, and that will make your quilt too small unless that's what you're looking for. So this is what we have today. When you get your jelly roll, you'll just unroll it. We're using the Paradiso by Kate Spain for Moda. It's really quite attractive. As you go through your jelly roll, you may find that there are some pieces that are duplicates. So what I'm going to do is, as I come to those, I'll just move them to the front of the actual little pack that they are with. So those are all grey, so I'll move it to the front of the greys. I'm going to cut off all the selvages, so I'll arrange that as I go through, because once you start, you just want to be able to go really, really quickly. Okay, so when we sew our jelly rolls together, we're going to use just a straight seam. You'll see them on the net where they have the 45-degree angle. We're not going to do that. This is quick and easy, so that's what we'll be doing today. So we're going to cut the selvages off now. So I take my first strip, pop my roller down, cut it off. Now I'm going to place these in the same manner as they come off the roll. Okay. Because that's how I want it to look when it goes together. Now here I have a duplicate, so I'll just cut the selvage off. And because I don't want these two sitting side by side, I'm going to move that one and make it the first one. Okay, and that's what we do. We go right through the roll, just cutting off our selvages. Sometimes you can't see the selvage on the other end, but there will be one, so I just cut them through double. Now we're going to sew our strips together. So I take the top strip and just open it up. And then I take my second strip. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the two ends together so that they meet, and sew along here with a 1/4 inch seam. We're going to do that on all of the strips in our bundle. Okay, so I have the first strip and the second strip, and they're on my machine, and I'm just going to sew that now. Now I'm going to pick up the next strip. So I go to the end of strip 2, and I'm going to pick up strip 3 and just do the same thing again. The two ends together, pop it in the machine. And to the end of that strip, pick up the next one. And you're going to keep doing this until you have a really, really, really long strip, which will be 1600 inches plus. Now you'll notice that I haven't cut these as they've gone through the machine. We don't do that till the end, so just keep sewing your strips together and let them join like this. So when you've sewn them all together, this is what you'll end up with. And now we're just going to snip the threads between the strips. So I'll come back to the beginning. Okay, so there you go. It's really quick and easy, and just cut all those there. You don't have to cut them close, just cut them straight through the middle. So there you go. So I'll continue doing this, and then I'll come back and show you the next step. So as you can see, we've sewn everything together and we have this really long strip of material. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find our starting strip. So this is the first strip in our quilt, and we're going to cut 18 inches off this. You can cut 18 to 20, I usually cut 18. Now the reason for that is we want to make sure that our strips are staggered. So as you can see here, otherwise we'd just end up with them all running across each other and it wouldn't get that nice staggered look. So now what we're going to do is we have our first strip here where we've cut the 18 inches off. So now we find our end strip and we put the two together, and we're going to be placing them right sides together, and we're going to sew down here with a 1/4 inch seam, and we're going to sew and sew and sew all the way through all this fabric till we get to the end. And when we get to the end, we'll find that there is a loop, and we're just going to cut through that loop, and that will give us our fabric sitting side by side like that. But on the way through, you just may find that it tangles and twists and turns. Now you can just go ahead with it as it is now, and then when you get to the end, cut it and it will unravel. But we like to have it untangled at the start. So just make sure that you've got your two ends here together. Alright, now we don't have to hold on to them, but just make sure that they're together. And what we're going to do is we're just going to drag this fabric through. We're not worrying about whether it's together or it's facing each other at this stage. And a lot of people don't do this, they just sew it straight off. It's entirely up to you, but when you're starting out with these things, sometimes it's nice to do a little bit of prep work and get everything flat and easy to manage. So we're going through all this fabric, and there's a lot of fabric. Okay, still going, still going. Okay, nearly there. And here we are at the middle. Now it doesn't have to be exactly the middle, it's approximate. So all the dust come off the material. Now we are going to be a bit more precise. So we're going to put the two ends face side together, and I'm going to start working my way back through the pile and keeping them untwisted, making sure that they're untwisted now, and just lay them flat. The right sides together, just bring it through. Any twist you find, untwist until you get back to the beginning. So we've untwisted the fabric as much as possible, so you'll see here now that our two ends don't meet, but that's okay. There's no problem with that, but we're just going to make it meet anyway. Now we may still end up with a twist or two through it, but it won't be totally twisted and tangled like they often are. So we'll just sew that now, starting from here, 1/4 inch, and we're going to sew all the way through. We're going to do a 1/4 inch seam, and we're going to go all the way down the strip. Now when you come to the seams, you can just lay them flat and sew over them. Okay, so we've sewn our two strips together, and we've come to the end, and here's our loop. You can see our loop there, and I'm going to cut through there. Now I usually stop a couple of stitches from the end, but if you do sew over the end, you can just pull out a couple of stitches as you cut, so you can fit your scissors through. So there we go. And we'll open her up. Oh, isn't that just looking gorgeous? So now what we're going to do is exactly the same as we did the last time. We find our ends, find our beginning piece. Okay, and then we'll lay those together. So what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be putting this one over on top, sewing down a 1/4 inch. But because we don't want any tangles in our strips, we're going to do exactly the same as we did with the first one. So I'll go and do that now, and then we'll come back and show you what we're going to do next. So we have our pile here now, and we've opened these up so that the two strips are open flat, and we're going to place, now this was our very first row, so we're going to place this face side down on the last end, and we're going to sew 1/4 inch down here. So this time we'll have 4 strips sewn together. So I'm going to go and do that now, and then we'll come back and show you the next step. So we've sewn all our bits together again, and when you open it up we now have 4 pieces, 4 strips, and we're going to do the same as we did the last time. We're just going to cut the loop at the other end and open it up. They're looking lovely. Alright, so again we're going to bring our ends together, and this time we're going to be sewing down here with a 1/4 inch seam all the way through, So we'll go and untangle again as we did before to make sure that when we're sewing we have no curls or tangles in our fabric. So I'll go and do that now, and then we'll come back in a moment. Okay, so here we go. Now we have our 8 strips together. It's looking gorgeous, isn't it? I'm going to do the same thing again. I come down to the end, and I'm just going to cut across the bottom. Okay, so bring that up, lay it across, and again we're going to sew down with a 1/4 inch seam all the way along. Okay, we're getting closer and closer, so here we are. Isn't this just looking gorgeous? So again, I'm going to cut down at the loop. You can see I've got a lot more to cut across this time. This is just beautiful. So here we go. I'm going to bring the bottom edge up, and I'm going to lay it up over the top edge, right sides facing, and again I'm going to match these up and sew with a 1/4 inch seam right to the end. And there's not much fabric left this time, so we don't have to worry too much about anything. So there we go. So this will be the last row, and I'll go and do that and then show you what you'll do next. So we're just going to cut our last loop. Okay, so there we are, we're finished. Isn't that just awesome? It's beautiful. Now you can finish this quilt any way you like. You can just finish it off here, add some batting and some backing, and finish it as we did our easy quilt, where you don't have to bind, or you can add a binding if you wish. You can also add borders, as we've done with this one here. So we've added a small border and then a larger border. So whatever you wish to do with it. But there you are, isn't that just gorgeous? So if you found this tutorial helpful, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.